Houston and Tennessee.
Oh, mate. Like, sorry, but it's all about Derrick Henry, isn't it? That's where you have to start and finish. I think what is it? 262 yards of total offense, about 200 and change on the ground, and then he picked up like about 50 odd yards receiving as well. You know, he's a tank. He's the Bobby Lashley of running backs, mate. Like, you don't think so, but he'll run you over. He's just lethal. Absolutely lethal. But I'll tell you what people aren't talking about with the Titans, and they never do. It's how good Ryan Tannehill is, man. You know?
Thank you.
He's so under. He is the most. He's like the. He's so underrated. He's so underappreciated. He does everything, and he does everything well, and people just don't seem to pay attention because it's because of Derrick Henry. No, do you know, since he took over from Mariota last season, he has been, I think it's something like 37 touchdowns and like 5 interceptions. You know, he's got the highest quarterback rating of any quarterback since that time in the NFL. And, you know, he's also got a bit of a running threat. You know, he does well. He's a great player, Tannehill. He's got high IQ as well. What did I say about, you know, when we were talking about Premier League football the other day? High IQ, good decisions. Tannehill doesn't make too many bad decisions. And do you know what? Out of all the teams I've seen, I feel like the Titans are the most complete team that I've seen this season. They have weapons, pieces everywhere. A.J. Brown coming back after injury. That's a stud. That's a bad man, A.J. Brown. He is bad. You watch what they did to the Bills last week. They abused them. And the Bills are, you know, they're kind of flattering to deceive now a little bit. But the Titans, you know what? They took the Texans, to their credit, threw everything at this game. Titans took it all and still done them in overtime.
Yep, they did. And bringing up that Bills game, I think if you watched it, King Henry decided to just throw Josh Norman around like he was
that was well funny. Josh Norman's like, yeah, I'm a bad boy. Get your ass out of my way. Just slapped him across. Kaboom! Like, that's the kind of running back he is, man. Like, you know, people talk about all these crazy good running backs, but what's scary about Derrick Henry is he's a legitimate beast. He's built like a linebacker. And he's out there running fools over, and he's outpacing some of the fastest cornerbacks in the league as well.
When he was at Alabama, he was 220. He was 6'1", 220. And he had speed as fuck, just amazing.
This was the game of the week, though, for me. This was the most exciting game. Like, do you know what? The Titans are must-watch. And the Texans, when they tip up, and, you know, Deshaun Watson, you have glimpses of him again because he's having a really hard time of it. I think Romeo Crennel's taken over as head coach at the Texans. And, you know, for a very old man, he's doing all right. You can definitely see there's a slight culture change there since he's come in. The Texans at least are trying, and they look like they can actually do something here. I think there was a situation when they could have kicked for, you know, an extra point. They went for a 2-point conversion, missed it, and that kind of ended up biting them in the ass. They ended up going overtime and losing. A lot of people are saying, oh, you know, but, you know, this was such a high-power game. That fourth quarter especially was insane. 28 points between two teams in the fourth quarter. Fantastic stuff. Neither team wanted to lay down. I mean, you know, to be honest, if you know, the casual NFL fan or somebody who's not really into the sport that much comes up to me and says, oh, where should I start? What team should I watch first? Got to be the Titans. Amazing running back, great quarterback, you know, great quarterback. The defense is very strong. It's also a little bit nasty, a little bit dirty. Always had you remember when Fisher was there, they always had a bit of a reputation, and they still have a little bit of that. But they're such a good team. They really are. And the funny thing is, you know, they conceded 36 points in this game, which is really unlike them, and still won. And what do we always say about great teams and champions? They find a way to win even when they're not playing their best, or even when they're still shipping goals or points or whatever it may be in whatever sport. The Titans they look fantastic. But on the flip side of things, I've got to say, the Texans, you know, I think they thought that David Johnson was going to kind of, you know, he was going to be like the solution to everything, and that's just not been the case. And Deshaun Watson, to be fair, has just not really turned up. I will say one thing: I think Will Fuller is really good value for money.
Oh, absolutely.
Will Fuller. You know, he had 6 receptions for 123 yards and a touchdown. You know, off of 11. You know, he was targeted 11 times. He's definitely their stronger. The really sad thing here is Brandon Cooks. apparently there's a lot of disconnect between him. This is just what I'm hearing from things I've read, articles and there.
Right.
Brandon Cooks has a kind of a disconnect, doesn't really like Deshaun Watson. There's a bit of kind of an ego issue there. I know that Brandon Cooks was well known for having an ego issue at New Orleans, which is a shame. But, you know, he can be a real stud, a wide receiver, Cooks. You know, he's got a little bit more. I've noticed since Crennel's come in, they've targeted him a lot more. They've targeted him, a lot more. But when they played the Vikings, for instance, I think Brandon Cooks was targeted once. And you think, that's very strange. In a game when they were struggling to get anything. And, you know, I mean, 68 yards off of 9 receptions for a touchdown. You know, he did all right in this game. Deshaun Watson's much better when he spreads the offense about. When he starts getting, you know, into that tunnel zone kind of mentality, and he starts tunnel vision, and he starts, you know, just kind of relying solely on Fuller and not using his other weapons like Cooks, like Fells. You know, David Johnson is a reasonable receiver as well as a decent, you know, running back. It's a bit strange. I thought the Texans would be doing better. I didn't think they'd be a genuine Super Bowl threat or anything, but I thought they'd be doing a bit better. And here they are, standing at 1-5.
I think what it is Deshaun Watson he's pinpointed Will Fuller.
Yeah,
he
had a great game. He had a really good game. 28 of 37, 335 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 picks. This was probably the best game Deshaun Watson's played, and they still lost.
Right.
This season.
He's trying to make Will Fuller into what DeAndre Hopkins was.
Yeah.
And he's pushing too much. Because that's the only guy he's looking for. If it's not him, it's Fells. And if Fells isn't open or Fuller's not open, he's either running it for his life or he's taking a sack.
Yeah. They've got good weapons everywhere, you know. They've got Duke Johnson's not bad. Don't sleep on him. Randall Cobb is a really effective wideout. You know, is he like, you know, a world beater? No. But these are all guys that can get you points. They can get you yards after the catch. But for some reason, they, you know, maybe he's got too many choices and he's struggling. Also, when we talk about the Texans, you know, who's the first name that always comes up? J.J. Watt, okay? That defense isn't very good. It's not very good at all. J.J. Watt is definitely in the, shall we say, the twilight of his career. I feel like that's fair to say. You know, he's still reasonably effective. He's still a tank. He's obviously, he adds more value than just, you know, his on-the-field ability. But I'm not convinced by J.J. Watt as a, you know, a world-class player anymore. I think he's just there more in spirit, you know? He's more there for the emotional support, you know, the kind of the fighting spirit. But I don't think he's that effective on the field. Yeah, he's the leader. He's the leader of the locker room. You can tell that. And again, obviously, when the head coach was removed and Crennel came in, apparently that was a big thing. J.J. Watt was not, you know, keen on it. And obviously, this is the kind of place where, you know, if J.J. Watt doesn't like you, chances are you're going to be out the door. He seems to have just as much say as a general manager. So,
right.
You know, and, you know, that is what it is. But, hey, you know what? From a neutral standpoint, magnificent game. Love this. Absolutely brilliant. What's up next?